Welcome everybody. Hello, how is everyone doing? I hope everyone is doing well and today's a good day. It's a good day for me. So I'm just happy to be here. I'm Karen, owner and artist of From My Palette to Yours. And I'm a resident artist with Paint Pixie, which is just so fun for me. I absolutely love working with their products. I retail for them. I have a booth here in the Salt Lake Valley, and I love all of the products that Paint Pixie carries. So today, I know everybody kind of always lets people hop on, but I'm just one of those. I just get right down to business. So we're going to be working on this little round table here. So you can see it's had better days. It's a little bit ragged. I had to build a shelf for the bottom. I just got it at, hello Josie, I got it at the Desert Industries. It didn't have the bottom shelf, so I had to cut one and we had to just attach it. It was pretty dirty, it was pretty gross, a little bit shiny, but I think we're gonna be okay as far as adhesion. I did find when I was cleaning it though that it was bleeding and bleeding and bleeding. And so I did put a coat of force fill on it. Okay, so this is our UV top coat, but it is also a primer. I think I'll put my glasses on so I can see. Yes, I know, DI does have good stuff. So this is our force fill. It's just a super, super strong top coat. So, and it's a beautiful sheen on it, but it can also be used as a blocking primer. So you can put it on first and it will seal off all of those tannins, the stains, especially those old stains that just come up. This one just kept my rag brown, like it was literally just brown the whole time. I just couldn't get it to stop, so I'm like, I am gonna force fill this, get it to stop, because I'm gonna use some bright and lighter or vibrant colors on this. Hi Jane. And so I just didn't want to be messing with all of that. Oh, here's another brown stain. Oh, this just turned this yellow. Hi Kath, thanks for watching, thanks for joining us. So you know how people will say, oh, well, this was great, and then it dried, and then I've got these yellow spots? Well, that is from a lot of times the stain, the actual, stain that they used. And I just didn't want to mess with that. So force filled is our best friend for blocking all of that kind of stuff, and I'm hoping that one coat was enough. I think it is. It's a really strong top coat. I put it on with an applicator pad. You can find those on my website, FromMyPaletteToYours.com, same as my company name. So if you want to do that. And then one side note here is I did have to cut this round base for it, the bottom. It's not a base, it's the bottom shelf. And I sanded this all the way down to bare wood. Now, I don't know if I'm not going to do a wash on this anymore. I was going to maybe stain the top or do a wash and make the wood grain show, but I've gone a whole different direction with what I'm going to do with this table. So I would not have had to sand this down. Since I did, and you should have seen the colors that I just kept wiping off. This bare wood, it's just brown and yellow. So I sealed it with force fill. So that just is going to seal that in. And then my bare piece of wood, my brand new piece of wood from the hardware store, I sealed it as well with my force fill. In my training for painting, when I do like trunks, I'm talking wooden trunks, things that have been built that are small, like for all of my decorative and fine art painting, things like that. We always seal our wood just so we have a good surface to paint on and we don't lose all of our paint into the wood grain to finally seal off all those pores. So that is also another reason to, you can seal it first. I know, Josie, I'm wearing my apron. This one can get dirty. So Josie just said she just noticed I'm wearing my apron. So the other one I painted back here and I put all of our colors on it. So I can't wear it. I just told her I can't. It's just a decoration now. So she sent me another apron so I could actually wear it. Yay! So I'm happy. So let's get going, guys. Anyway, yeah, so I like to have a sealed surface instead of just raw wood. Now I can go onto raw wood, but I don't like to as much. So you're not going to see my head because I want to keep this close. Hi Stevie, thanks for watching. I want to keep you at least this close. I am so crammed in here because we're remodeling upstairs, and so everything is just everywhere in my house. I honestly, we wander around for, an hour in the morning just trying to find our stuff. Really quick, my inspiration colors are these pillows that are out on my porch and on my back patio. And so I love all of these bright colors, and you can see I've got them all in our Magical Chaulk Paint line. So I've got my oranges, my reds, my greens, my blues, my yellows. Now these are just a little bit more muted instead of like, toning my honeycomb. I'm going to be putting it on straight. I want it really bright. And then I think I'm going to put this table out on my patio between my chairs that hold these pillows. So I think that will be cute. I'm going to do part 2 of this tomorrow night. And so you guys are going to get to see this start to finish. All right, I got to stop talking. I got to start painting. I'm going to use Little D and shortstop for sure. And I'm sure that I'll probably get the French tip brushes out. But we'll just see. I'm going to start down here. Well, I'll start at the top. My color on the top is going to be a lot of honeycomb and candied papaya. So I'm going to wait on that for just a minute, and I'm going to start about here with candied papaya, a little bit of my dreamsicle, and I'm just going to start working down. So let me just get candied papaya out. I'm going to square out my dreamsicle because that's going to kind of be around the rim area. The top's going to be my honeycomb, my dreamsicle, probably some key lime pie. We're going to do kind of just a faux finish up here. And I will pull this down for that part. But I want to be able to let you guys see what I'm working on here. I'll get out my violet lemonade right now. Because I can't, even though my pillow doesn't have pink in it, my table is going to have my violet lemonade. And then I'll get out some candy apple. And we'll just start with those colors. I am going to put blue on the bottom of the feet and pull up, but I'll do that once this is dry. Let's see. I'm just trying to see if I want to do shortstop or I want to do my Little D with this. So I don't need water on the table or anything. I'm just going to start with some of our dreamsicle. So this is a very light coral color. Up here on the top, I'm not worrying. I'm getting a little bit up there, but it's not going to hurt anything. And I'll be layering, so I'm not worried if this isn't covering all the way to start with. I tried to fit this on my Lazy Susan, and it was too big. It barely fit, like the 4 legs, but you guys know it would have fallen on me. So it's just on a table, and it would have been so easy to paint this on a Lazy Susan, because then I could get all the way around. I could just keep twirling it, but I just don't have that set up here. I don't have a big enough Lazy Susan. Okay, so basically I'm just hitting this rim to start with the creamsicle, and I'll see how, what else I need to do with it. But again, right now we're just putting on colors, and you know how that goes. We just have to start, don't we? My eyes, literally, you guys, I'm sorry if I'm missing people. Hi, Jeannie. That light really blinds me, and so hello if you're hopping on. I'm just so happy that you're here. Okay, I'm going to dip now into my candied papaya. So I just got a double load on my brush, just the normal, dip it in both colors. I'm going to start up here. I'm going to start to bring in these colors on here. Okay. And well, it's hard for me to just work on the front, guys, because I've kind of got to keep this flowing all the way around. So I'll work as quickly as I can so that we can really see some fun colors coming together. That dreamsicle, when it starts to dry, it almost looks off-white in certain, especially against certain colors. And so right now we have a little bit of, there's not a whole lot of color going on yet, but this candied papaya is sure bringing in a really pretty color. And this is our orange. It's a reddish orange, and it's just gorgeous. It's so fun to use. All right, now this is a little bit more difficult. I'm not going to lie. It's a little harder to blend on just such thin little surfaces and round. So it's a little bit harder to keep the blend going well. But remember, this first coat, again, is just we're getting our paints on, and then we'll do our fine blending once we this dries. But by the time we get down to the bottom, this will be ready for a second coat. Right now, I'm just kind of blending it up into this dreamsicle. If you guys have any questions, be sure to ask. I'll try and keep up with questions, and then if I miss anything, I promise you that I will come back afterwards and I'll look at every question and answer. Alrighty. I'm going to get out a little more dreamsicle, a little more, well, I think I've got enough candied papaya for right now. I do want a little more dreamsicle in my brush as I'm working this backside here. Just so it doesn't get too, you know, orange too fast. Now, if I were painting this and I wasn't on camera, I would have this out in the middle of my room so I could just walk around it easily, you know, and make sure I'm getting all the sides. But, I just don't have, right now, like I said, I've got stuff everywhere in my house, so I just don't have that option right now. Okay, I'm going to come in now with just some candied papaya and work it in down here on the bottom, and I'm going to stop overworking now because I kind of want this candied papaya to sit up on top. So if I sit and keep brushing back and forth, it's just going to go into that bottom layer, and pretty soon I'm going to form a new color, aren't I? So if we just kind of put it on and just walk away, let it sit, then we'll start to get a little more of the pure color on top. And that's what I'm after right now, is I want to see that transition with my candied papaya coming down. Now I think I want to start, well, we'll get the violet lemonade out for this next step. So as we start the legs, I'm going to start with candied papaya and violet lemonade in my brush. And again, it'll just be a double load. And I actually love the color that they turn together. So in between occasionally, guys, I will just kind of wipe my brush off. A lot of times I can just go wet on wet, but right now where I'm trying to establish some colors, I'll just wipe it off on my towel and then just keep going. All right, let me just come into the violet lemonade because there's a lot of that candied papaya right now. So let me just pull this in. Again, this is our first coat, so it's just, we're kind of getting that base coat on. And I could have had this done before, but then I just wanted you to see something start to finish. So I just thought, you know, we're going to have to just be patient. And, you know, this is a little repetitive here. If you're on the replay, of course, you can fast forward through this part as I keep laying each of these colors on. But sometimes it's good just to see exactly how a piece is put together. So I thought that's what I'd do with this. Since it's a small piece, we could do 2 different days, back-to-back days, and just get this piece knocked out. And then get my force field on it and get it prepared to go outside. I'll let it cure for a while inside. Okay, and of course this is really streaky right now. I'm not trying to goop up a lot of paint on my brush at one time. And these lighter colors, you know, anytime that we have red as a pigment, which that's what violet lemonade is going to have in it, is our red pigments, it's just going to be semi-transparent. Just by nature, those pigments are semi-transparent. So unless they have a ton of white in them that's going to help them become more transparent, it'll take away some of the some of its intensity though. So then you don't get this really bright pop of color. I could have undercoated this whole piece in white, but I really wanted these colors just to show true. So I put a lot of thought into this piece and how I was going to do it. And I just decided, you know, I'm going to take this time, even though it's going to be a few coats. I just wanted to do this just, you know, layer by layer. And it's going to be just great. It's going to be fun to work on. First coat, guys, this is just totally the ugly, sloppy stage. I mean, I'm not leaving drips and terrible looking stuff here, but it's surely not, you know, a perfect blend. And I'm just hitting up here while I've got some of this pink lemonade on my brush. Okay, now we're going to come into some pink lemonade, and I think I'm going to keep with this candied papaya for a minute because I'm loving the orange. I thought I'd switch into red now, but I don't want to yet. Get a little more violet lemonade out. So this is really bright, this candied papaya. When it gets mixed in with the creamsicle, it turns almost neon. And that's, for right now, that's okay. It is going to be a lot truer to the candied papaya when we're finished. But you just kind of have to first, you know, like I said, get this base coat going. All right, so now I've got like a bunch of paint on here. I'm gonna just start mixing these two together. This is candied papaya and violet lemonade, and I'm just kind of mixing them in the same brush because I love the color mixed. And I'm not worrying about it right now as far as the blending goes, because we've got to just do this in steps. All right. It is really warm in here with my ring light on. And you've noticed I'm not using any water at all. I don't want any water in my brush right now because I'm trying to get a base coverage on, aren't I? So we've got to kind of work at that. All right, I'm going to put this on here, bring it down a little bit. I want the legs to be mostly pink and orange and red. I just thought this would look so cute out there with this pop of color. And then kind of bring the yellows and stuff into the top of it. And maybe even paint some of the flowers that are on those pillows. I could paint those on top of this, and I think it would be darling. And those are just simple. Those are just, you know, a bunch of circles put together, so. Alrighty. Just trying to decide how dark. Yeah, I think I'm going to bring in my candied apple now. And just get a little layer of that on. And I'm going to put it all the way down here to the bottom. I'm going to come down all the way to the bottom with my candied apple. I am going to put blue down here, but I need a base color underneath it to just peek through. And I don't want to mix them because I don't really want purple. I do want my blue to show on this, and so I'm going to have to go a little bit slow, let this all dry before I add blue. In fact, blue may be like the last coat as I've got this coated up and we're looking a little bit better. Okay, and I just keep, you know, when I layer, I just keep bringing colors up into other parts. I want this to dry a little faster than it is. I'm going to just work on this leg for a minute here. Okay, I'll just bring a little more candied apple up. And again, these reds, I mean, these are always just little by little is how we have to do these. And don't get frustrated with them because you know, not only don't get frustrated, but stop and let it dry. Because if I keep, the more I come up here, I'm just adding more wet paint on top of wet paint. And I'm stopping that, first of all, from getting a skim on the top. It's not drying because I keep fiddling with it. And it's just going to prolong when I can actually start to layer my pretty colors. So I'm my own worst enemy, I will tell you. I fiddle, see, I'm doing it still as we talk. Here I am fiddling on this part that I should be let drying. So you want to give your paint a few minutes to get that little skim on it, and then it can start to dry. Dries from the top down. And so even if it's dry on the top, it might still be wet underneath. So you kind of have to be tricky about the way you do that so that you don't just move your paint around. I'm literally going to let this section, I'm going to leave it alone here, and I'm going to come over here and do this leg. Okay, so I've scooped, guys. Do you see how much paint is on there? Like, I'm mixing this paint. Hi, Melissa. Thank you for watching. I'm mixing this paint as I go. I'm literally putting it on in 2 colors and then just mixing it as I work. Because I want the colors mixed, but I don't want to sit and mix it on my palette when I can just do it on here. This is my first coat again, like I said, so I'm just needing to get paint on here. So how many of you guys have used our Magical Chaulk Paint? I'm loving it. It is so awesome. If you haven't tried it, you got to try it. You can find a local retailer, and we're getting more and more retailers every day, so that is good. We just did the hard launch on the paint. You know, Pixie brushes have been around for quite a few years now, I think 4 or 5, and they are hands down the best furniture brushes and art brush. I mean, I love them for my artwork too. they're just such great brushes, and this paint is not going to disappoint. If you love the brushes, you know the quality that Josie expects out of products that have her name on it. And so you're not going to disappoint at all with this paint. It is marvelous. It is an acrylic and chalk based paint. So you've got the calcium carbonate in it, and that helps with some adhesion. It's a binder too, so it makes things stick. It helps it to reactivate, but then we've got that acrylic in it that makes it, that's also a binder. So that is what really adheres and hardens. Acrylic is just the best paint that you can put on anything. And I mean, I love it across the board. It's my favorite to work with. So anytime you can get a paint that has a little bit of both, a little bit of acrylic, a little bit of chalk, you're coming up. That's a good formula for an excellent paint. It's very pigmented, and you guys may be going, yeah, right, I can still see the wood streaks through that. Well, I'm using all semi-transparent colors. So that's the only way this can be right now. All right, these are, I've got a funny little set of streaks. I'm trying to keep my brush strokes somewhat okay through this. They're going to be covered, but I don't want it to just look terrible and have brush strokes going every direction. Even on this layer, that's just part of the way I paint. And guys, I've seen people just leave them all directions and their pieces turn out gorgeous, and I just literally can't do it. I try and I just can't. I'm like, stresses me out to walk away from a crooked brush stroke that's too apparently crooked. So it's just not something I can do. Hi Pamela, thank you for watching. I can't get to any of the other, oh, hi Donna. Kath, I'm afraid I will just like literally stop my live if I fiddle around with that too much. So I'm just gonna let it go. That's still really wet over here. So let's just carefully turn this and do another leg. Don't fall off of this little, just got one of these little tiny these little lifetime tables that are, come on, let go. Got hooked on my drop cloth down here. Hang on just a sec. Up and over, there we go. This is just one of those little short tables that you can change the height on, and it barely holds this too. So I'm just trying to be really careful and not make a mess and drop my table on the floor. All right, let's get back to this. Again, I'm just mixing these two colors as I paint. And you know, one thing I would recommend when you are painting something like this that has all these different sides is make sure that you are checking it regularly, because you're going to miss spots. And for me, I'll be painting along just great, but it's that little back piece that I missed the drip on. It's the one that I couldn't see very well, and sure enough, I missed, you know, a big old drip, and I have to sand it off and fix it up. So you just kind of watch where you've been. Just like here, I'm seeing on the back of this, I was a little heavy with my hand trying to get this first coat on, and it was dripping a little. The viscosity of this paint, what viscosity is that is just the ability for it to move. Viscosity is the way atoms let each other move past one another. And so when you have something that's really viscous like this paint, it moves really well. So if you get it on too heavy and we have gravity, it is going to pull and make some drips on you. So just be aware of that. I'm not having to use any water with this. I'm getting my pure pigment, my pure paint on here without any water at all. That is how fluid our paint is. So just be aware of that and kind of watch yourself. I've got all these little grooves in these legs, and they are just have little puddles in there waiting to drip on me. And I keep brushing them because I see the, gravity does its thing and pulls all that paint down. We can't get away from that, guys. It doesn't matter how hard I try. Gravity's just there for us. So we just kind of have to work with it because it's in charge, and just kind of be mindful, especially when you're heavy-handed like I am. I love a lot of paint, and I sometimes get myself in a little trouble. But it's nothing that we can't fix. That's the beauty of paint. Doesn't matter what you've done to it, you can fix it because it's paint. and we can fix everything on paint. Ask me how I know that. I've made all the mistakes, my friends. So I'm not afraid to say that either. Mistakes help us learn. That's where I've learned the most from, is painful mistakes sometimes. All right, I'm coming in with my candied apple down here now. And right now with all of these paints in my brush, I'm not getting a huge variety of color, to be honest with you, because these are all very close in value, and we've got some change in hue, but the value is really close. So they're kind of just not seeing a huge difference, but I will on my second coat. I'll be a lot more careful of my placement as well, because, you know, second and third coat are going to be my finals. So not afraid to just brush up here. The more paint I can get on now, the better it will be when I start to do my blending. And we're patiently letting that other side dry, right? So I can fiddle around with this one. All right, I'm still on, yes. Let's see, I'm gonna scoot you guys back just a little because I think you lost the legs when I moved my table around. Okay, so see, you can see in these little grooves, they just, these grooves here, that paint puddle's in there, and so I just have to be watchful that it doesn't come down and drip out of the bottom. It's not gonna hurt if it dries with a little puddle on the bottom of these, but it will look better if I don't let that happen. Okay, and then when I'm on this side of a piece, I can look through the back here and hit those legs on the back side, because it's hard to see what you're doing back here. Let's get a little more of this and paint these. And I'm not trying to do an ombre, so I don't want you guys to think I'm trying to do an ombre. I have mapped out some of these colors kind of down the color wheel where they land, but I'm not doing an ombre by any means. I want this to just be very mottled when I'm done. So it's going to be a very relaxed style of painting when we start getting our colors on top of this base coat. And I'm thinking I might be using the shortstop brush to do the next layers, just because it's a little bit smaller and I can work and be a little more precise with it. So we'll see. We'll just see how it goes. Sometimes I say that and then I, you know, end up with something completely different. So we'll just kind of see. Little D's just my best friend. I literally love this paintbrush in my hand. It's just right for me. And yet, for the way I blend, it just, you know, it's like the perfect little brush for me. We all have our favorites, don't we, when we're blending? I love the VIP if I'm blending a big piece, but this is not made for the VIP. I mean, you could, but yeah, that brush is really wide. It's 6 inches wide, but it's so wonderful for blending when you're on a big surface, a canvas, a bigger piece of furniture, even just base coating. The VIP is wonderful. It goes on so fast. I have, and I hate to even admit, I have used it for varnishing because I wanted big, wide strokes. I didn't want to see my brush strokes. And I don't like to put my good brushes in varnish. I like to keep separate brushes for my varnish or use my applicator pads. But I decided to try the VIP and it worked great. Had to use a light hand, but it did work. It worked really nice and it was big, wide strokes, like I said. So, all right, a little candy apple down here, guys. And then I don't know how I'm going to show you these shelves. I'm afraid I might have to do like these two off camera because I'm just going to be like crawling inside them and all awkward and weird. And I don't want everybody watching me do that. But the top one we can do together for sure. And then you can see how I model colors when I'm just doing a slip slap blend. All right, let's see. Let's do, what do we need here? A little more here. We've got our candy apple down at the bottom. Okay, so because I've just been up and down all over this, I've got a pretty good number of colors on here to get started with for our second coat. It's not quite dry, so I am going to get my heat gun out. I hate to do that. I just wanted it to dry. And it's so warm in here. I mean, it should be dried and cured by now, I would think. But it's not. It's not. Oh, thank you for sprinkling. I appreciate that so much. And if you guys don't follow me on my page, From My Palette to Yours, hop on over and give me a like and a follow. And of course, if you're on my page and you don't follow Paint Pixie, please follow Paint Pixie, because we have guest artists, our resident artists are on every week. And then we do marathons, which are amazing and so fun to participate in. And if any of you have the opportunity to participate in our marathons, please take advantage of that. It truly is a blast. You know, I'm not going to worry too much about my drop cloth right now. I just don't want to trip on it. So I'm going to just turn this carefully here, not get it on my apron. All right, let's just grab this and dry it real quick. Does anybody have questions? Was that to me, Josie? You messaged me the picture of your finished frame, or was that somebody else? Because that frame was gorgeous you were working on yesterday for your picture for Vanessa. Have you guys seen Josie Transformer frames? She just does a beautiful job. All the layering. All right, I really have to get a good skim on this, so I apologize for this, but we've got to have this dry, or I'm not going to be able to get any layers building. And what I'll do is I'll try and just concentrate right here on this portion. So I'll be bringing in all my colors now, just all over the piece. And each section, I'm not, like I said, I'm not doing a ombre at all. Right, Nicole? It's just amazing. Oh, you can be brave. Nicole, I've seen your paintings and the things you've done. You are a great artist. You just hop in and do anything. If you see something you want to try, you just try it, Nicole. Don't you be afraid, because I've seen what you can do, so I know you can do it. Anyway, I was just saying that even though I'm not doing an ombre of any sort, I will probably be a little bit heavy with certain colors in certain areas down the piece. I'll be using all my colors to blend with, but maybe say down here it might be, I might be really heavy with candied apple. On any of this area, maybe some violet lemonade is going to be a little bit heavier. Up here, some of the lighter colors. So we'll just kind of play it by ear here as we go along. And after this, I am going to have my little family over. We're going to barbecue some hamburgers. So that's going to be fun this evening. That should be a good time with the grandbabies. I'm thinking ahead already, right? We're still in the middle of my life, and I'm like, okay, let's see. I've got to cut up the tomatoes. Who else does that? We're always thinking a step ahead, but we're not focusing on what we're doing. I'm guilty of it. Okay, so this is getting a nice skim. It's definitely not cured by any means, but it is a nice skim on this. And so I'm just going to start working. And what I usually do on something like this is I usually kind of start in my center and I work my way out to however I want it to look. So let's just see what we can come up with. Like in this section, we'll work this section and we'll work one of the legs. And then I can duplicate everything off camera, but we can spend some time building this. So you can see how we can transform it. This is all great for underneath. In person, I can see where my candied papaya is and where the, my dreamsicle and where my violet lemonade is like full strength. And then I can see the candied apple not as well. It's pretty transparent right now. I can see those colors, and so they're going to show really pretty underneath this as we get working on it. Okay, let's just call that good and hope that I don't regret saying that it's good. I'm going to see if I can work off my table here. Let me just put it down. I have one of those little, you know, those little hospital tables that go up and down. And so I use it when it's in the upright position when I'm standing up painting. But sitting down, I have to just lower it. And my easel's a little bit in the way, but I think we can still try this. Okay, let's start in with our shortstop. Okay, this brush is wonderful. It's got shorter bristles and it's narrow. Okay, so it's probably, like 1.5 inches wide, maybe 2 at the most. And just really beautiful blend of synthetic and natural fibers, 70% natural, 30% synthetic. So it's a great mix. All right, I'm going to get out the honeycomb to go along with some of these colors now. And I'm not going to be I'll work up. I'll work from the center here up. And so I'm thinking what I want to do is I'm going to have the yellow and green and maybe some orange on top. Let me just think through this, and then if I come down, we'll just model all the way. So if I want blue down, a little bit heavier blue on the bottom, I think I'm going to start, let's start right in the middle here. Let me move this just a tit. Well, we'll just start up here. Let's go right in the center. So I'm going to now I'm not going to be picking up much paint, okay, because I'm going to start to blend. So now I'm going to just start to bring this in. And I just use a slip-slap motion. And of course, I'm not going to leave these in straight lines, but I've got to start somewhere. I'm going to probably need to use a little bit of my Water Girl, and this is our continuous mist spray bottle. Okay, I'm going to go just a little more in there. Just let a little paint. On this, I'm going to let a little paint sit on top, but I'm not going to worry too much about blending it, you know, overly blending it. I've got some honeycomb now. Oh, and that just makes it such a pretty color when we blend the honeycomb and the dreamsicle. Okay, and we can still see that pink underneath. And the second time I blend this, because this will take, I told you this will take 2 times of blending because I'm using these light colors. This will really start to pop and show these colors separately. Right now we're still just kind of building that base. Now this is kind of just more of a blended base now, and I'm still seeing the pinks showing through, which I really like. I lost a little bit of my dreamsicle, so I'm just going to lay that in. I'm going to leave that in the center alone and just barely soften it on these edges here. Okay. Come in with a little more honeycomb. I'm not worried about how far out I get with it. We've got a lot of work to do on this still. Okay, I'm just going to kind of softly blend that a bit. Now I want to wipe my brush because I want to pick up my candied papaya. So I'm going to come into the orange. I don't want to wet my brush because I've already got super wet tender paint. So if I get too much water in this, it's just going to pull everything up. So right now, because we're doing this live, if I were painting this just on my own time, I would never come in this early, just so you guys know. But I'm trying gingerly to bring you these colors. You know what I'm going to do, you guys? This is silly to be fighting this. I'm going to grab my turquoise iris mops. They're made from natural goat hair, so they're 100% natural. And they're the softest darn little things you've ever used. And you can come in with that same motion, just a slip-slap motion, especially if your paint is tender. No pressure, and you can just blend that right in. These synthetic bristles, these thicker bristles on our furniture brushes, they're not going to blend like this mop does. So if you really want something really nice, a really soft blend, I mean, I can blend it out eventually. I can blend it out really soft with these. But in this little space, you can see this really harsh line here. Hope you can see that. I can take my mop and I can just come in and softly just blend that. Like I just made that hard line disappear. Can you guys see that? I'm gonna bring you in closer. Hope that's not shining too bright. So if I come in and I put on this candied papaya, and I've got this really straight line here, I can just come in with my mop and I can just blend that line away. So you can see that I can blend it all the way over here if I want to. Do you see how beautiful that blends? I can come in through all these colors. And where we're not doing like a perfect ombre or anything like that, you have time to play with these colors and let them just get modeled together. That's kind of what you want, is for things to get modeled. I'll push it back in case that light is blinding you. All right, and on this outside edge, I think I want to bring in my violet lemonade. I'm going to come from this edge in. So I'm putting it out there. I'm just going to pull it in now since we're so wet. I'm going to come in with my mop. And I'm just going to tap it out, slip slap it. Oh, that violet lemonade, that's just beautiful in the corner. I'm going to do it over here, pull in that violet lemonade a little more. And when I bring it in and I use a light touch, I can leave quite a skim of paint there and then just come in and soften it on this outside edge, leaving my thicker paint alone, not disturbing it, so it can just dry for us and start to build some gorgeous colors. Now, for the first layer and these semi-transparent paints, I am just telling you, this is pretty amazing that it's allowing me to build up this much coverage this fast, and because I've been wet. Like, it's been wet this whole time. We dried it a little bit, but it's still not cured underneath, and so I could hardly put any pressure to blend on it. And that's why this mop, if you have these turquoise iris mops, so these are made by Pink Pixie, but the turquoise iris brands them. They are not just for canvases and fine art. These are wonderful for furniture and for blending. So a mop, I don't know if you guys have seen Dion use hers. Like, she acts like this is a fine art super detailed brush. I don't know how she can scoop that paint and make everything look so perfect. It's just, she's so good at that. And she uses hers a ton to paint with. I don't really paint with mine as much. I use mine more to blend with. So I grew up using mops to blend, but I watched Dion and I'm like, one of these days I'm just going to scoop that in and I'm going to make me a flower. We'll see. Somehow she has that knack of doing that, and I'm like not loose enough. I'm too tight. But if you guys have watched her, you'll notice that she uses her mops a lot to paint with as well. I use them for blending. So, but you can see how easily that worked for us. All right, let's move down one of the legs. I've got 15 minutes left is all, so let's work on a leg. I'm so tied up in this drop cloth. Let's see. Okay, I think that'll work right there. You watched Dion's TV show today where she was making heavy flowers with yeah, right? Like, I don't know how she does that, Josie. I've watched people paint for a lot of years, but I've never really watched impressionistic painters. And she's so good at her impressionistic art. I mean, the real key to impressionistic art is to be able to make it look good when you're, 15 feet away. That's when it looks like it's best. And somehow she has that eye, and I don't. Like, if mine's 4 inches away, I can paint that. But then when you back up, it's like, where did all the colors go? So I'm working hard, though, on impressionistic work. So I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Alrighty, let's pull in. I'm going to just come back in here with this violet lemonade across here just because I want everything painted in the world with violet lemonade. Just going to brush across there. And I can just keep working now across this rim as I work my way out on these legs and kind of keep it flowing properly. Because my violet lemonade is going to come in here again as I do these centerpieces. So that should work out. Alright, let's come in here. Let's start from the middle again, and I'm going to say that we start this time with, do I want to work up to violet lemonade? That would be fun. Let's start in the middle with our light here as well, and we're not going to just do just this little skinny thing. I think I'll just work this whole piece. Let's just work them. Let's just get on some colors. All right, let's just start laying some colors down. I don't want to plan on the legs. I just think that they'll look really pretty if they're just kind of natural. Okay, so this is already looking gorgeous in here. This, just with all these layers, is looking really pretty. Throwing a little bit of this yellow on, and anytime the yellow, the honeycomb mixes in with any of our pinks and reds, you know it's going to start to make oranges and corals. So you just have to be aware of that, that's what you're gonna get with it. It's beautiful, but you don't want to overdo your coral because it washes things out a little bit. Look at that violet lemonade. I love it, love it, love it. This is kind of taking on a little different turn than I thought, but as I see more of this pink on here, I'm really loving all the pinks and oranges and reds. So I think I'm going to kind of stick with these a little bit more than I had planned on. So this is some candied papaya here going on, and I'm kind of banging my brush a little bit into here. I'm not hurting it, but I've got to get into these little edges, and I'm too lazy to pick up a French tip. That would be my best friend right now, and it's, you know, an arm reach away, but heaven forbid I do something smart. Okay, there we go. We're getting some color going. A little bit more down here. We can do the same thing here. If we start to get a line that we don't like, we can come in with our mop if we need to. I don't really think that that's necessary yet, but we definitely can. All right, okay, now we've got some red showing. That's beautiful. So this is our candy apple red. I'm gonna wipe a little bit of these lighter colors out so I can have a little truer red going on. And I'm gonna do my feet red, and then they're gonna get blue on top of them. And I've got my Tropical Dream out, and I've got my Bon Benny Cocktail, and I haven't decided which one. I'm kind of leaning towards the Bon Benny, but I might want something a little bit lighter for my turquoise, for my blue. So we'll just have to wait and see when that time comes. I need a little more candy apple out. And you guys have all seen our bottles by now. The best thing about these are the flip tops. We don't have any clogging. You don't have to transfer your paint into other bottles. It's just, thank you, Jerry. Josie is very willing to give Jerry the credit for thinking of bottles, and I'm so grateful. Because I do not like the FIFO bottles, but I don't like painting out of a jar. So for me, that was just, I was so grateful when she showed us those. I'm like, no, this is too good to be true. I've got a furniture paint in a squeeze top bottle. It's the best thing ever. All right, I'm putting a lot of this candied apple on right now on this leg on the side here, just to get some coverage, just to get some paint on it. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to blend some more with some of these other colors. We don't have a whole lot of, color like we do up here, but I like that, I think, for these legs. I'm thinking I just want to stick with these three colors and a little bit of blue. I put turquoise on just about everything that I do. And so blues and greens are like my favorites, but except for violet lemonade is also my favorite. And candied papaya, that's another favorite. So I've got a bunch of favorites, but they're all favorites. Equally favorites. How about you guys? Are you like me? It's like they ask on Facebook, what's your favorite color? And you're just like, really? How long an answer do you want? I've got too many. There's just too many out there. Because I love them all. Okay, this is looking really pretty. Now, I'm still seeing some of the wood, the dark coming through here. It's actually looking really pretty. I will be building on top of it, but I will probably end up with a little bit of that dark wood showing through, and that's going to be just fine with me. So let's pull in, let's come back in with a little more violet lemonade right here. Now we're seeing you can see now just how much more of the true color we're seeing on here. So now you're really seeing the violet lemonade show through, a little bit of candy apple mixed in there. But if you keep dipping in your brush, even if the dirty brush, you're going to deposit whatever you've just dipped in on your piece. If you go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, you're going to deposit what you've just freshly dipped in and everything underneath it. So keep that in mind. We can use our dirty brushes just a little bit cautiously if you really want to start laying in some of the true color. And if you struggle with it, just clean it out or pick up another one and start using it. There's no reason fighting a dirty brush if you're not used to it. And until you do get used to, the way the paint comes off your brush and the way it deposits onto your piece of furniture. I mean, why fight that? Make it easy on yourself. All right, I'm going to take a little bit of that Violet Lemonade out of my brush because it was pretty heavy to get that really pretty pink right there. And I'm going to come in here. Now, do you see that gorgeous orange showing? We've got our candied papaya. This is really wet, so mostly I'm just moving paint around, which isn't what we want to do. But I thought I'd try and just deposit a tiny bit more on here. See if I can get it build up just a little bit more. So I'm literally just laying it down, sliding it a little, just leaving a little paint behind. And then I can come up here and I can just softly blend. Okay. When it starts getting to this point though, I've kind of got to start leaving it alone because it's just really wet. So we are to this point. I'm going to do these 2 shelves, and I'm going to try, guys, to get this done tomorrow, for tomorrow night. I want to have these legs done. So this, I like the pink coming down into the orange and red, although I'm not going to leave it graduated. I'm going to bring in these same 3 colors and just model it around. But these are going to be my heavy colors underneath the top layer of blending. So I'm going to try and get that. I'm not going to promise you it's going to get done. I've got a hair appointment tomorrow, and we're remodeling, so we've got subcontractors coming in. But I'm going to do my best to get as much done as I can. I do want to show you guys the top tomorrow, and I was thinking if I did some of those lighter colors on top, and maybe even like, so here's my pillow. So you see the pillow, and the background is kind of like glazed donut or cream puff, one of those 2. If I brought in just some of these the lighter colors, I could come in and just paint some of these cute flowers on the top. Just wild, and then do some stroke work with the turquoise. I think it would be really fun to do that on there. So we'll see. We'll see how far we can get tomorrow. It would be a really fun thing, and maybe I'll do a 3rd live and do the flowers on a 3rd one. That's probably what I'll do because I don't have time to do flowers and all my blending. But yeah, I'm gonna just keep coming on so that you guys can see this start to finish. I do a lot of pieces and they get, 25% done and you never see the process, and I just thought I really want to share with you guys the process start to finish. I've had a few comments about, you start it, but then I don't know where to go after that. And without doing it live for you guys, then, there's really no way that I can show you that. So I think I'll stop here. This is still wet. I can't even come over here and get that last layer on to show you, but I'll just keep working on this on a few lives. I've got permission to come on more than twice a month, so I can do a few if I need to, and we will finish this up together. We'll probably have to do 2 more times, maybe 3, to get it all finished, but we'll just keep working on it and see what we can come up with this magical chalk paint. Again, guys, you can hit my website from mypaletteyours.com. You can go to your local retailer, or if you have, oh, thank you, Josie. She says I can come on as much as I want. See you guys every day this month. If you have a local retailer, we'd love for you to go to the local retailers and support them. And if you don't have one and you love this paint, tell them, say they're accepting retailers right now. They just did the hard launch. We would love to have more retailers, and customers are what drives, the store owners, what they want. If they want something, they're going to carry it for you. So you guys can really make a big difference for us too, as we're getting this paint out into the world and sharing with everybody how great it is. So I appreciate everybody. You guys have a great rest of the evening, and I will catch you for sure tomorrow night here. So, and if I hop on tomorrow during the day to do like one more little layer, then maybe you'll see me in the morning before I go to get my hair done. So anyway, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.